It appeals to me because it's an American play, very American feeling play. As an American Studies graduate, I have an interest in that side of things. It read very well. It's known as a classic play, and I thought it would go down well. John was interested in directing a play. I was also interested in directing a play. Proposed to him the possibility of co-directing, and we both agreed that All My Sons was a great play. We thought that it was one that the Marlowes could put on, and put on well. So we explored it, and we're glad that we are.
So you've got two people running the show. How are you working together?
We're sharing the load quite nicely. We've not really had any arguments or anything, no issues in terms of the way we see it. We do see the play in very similar ways. What we did was we split the acts up so that we've got Act 1, John focused on particularly. I focused on Act 2, which sort of had to happen because John is in Act 2. Unfortunately, we had limited options for one of the cast, which resulted in John having to actually take a part, which meant that I had to direct Act 2 because of him being on stage. So we've just shared the load, really. You
have quite an experienced cast. You must be fairly grateful for that.
Oh, definitely, and I think it shows that we've got an experienced cast. They've taken to quite difficult, quite wordy roles, and they've really gone with, thrown themselves into it with an aplomb. Very impressed with the family in particular, because they've got such a lot to do and such emotional impact in the scenes that they've got, and they're really pulling it off very impressively. Sophie's come in and joined the cast, and she's got experience before she came here, and it shows. She's doing a great job. She's fit right in. And for some of the smaller parts, we've got experienced members doing that as well, and I think it shows. I don't think there's no weak links. It's a really strong cast who are really pulling together very, very well. I say they're hitting all the emotional beats, and hopefully it'll be something that audiences will really enjoy.
Some groups might shy away from a play like All My Sons because it's such a deep play, needs such a talented cast, but the Marlowes tend to do something unusual like that, and this is yet another example.
I think we've got good strength in depth. I think we've got cast members who prefer dramas, and we've got members who prefer to do a comedy, and I think it's a real strength of the group that we can put a variety of different shows on, and I think we pull them off well. The reaction to The Weekend, which was a very different play last time, goes to show that we can deliver, and hopefully we can keep delivering through All My Sons. I'm very confident about that.
John Freeman, you're co-directing the play. Is it difficult directing and taking a part in it as well?
I think I'd be lying if I said no. The biggest challenge I think I'm finding is picking up on other parts of the play we want to change, or things we want to tweak or move, and then realising that perhaps something I've done hasn't quite worked out myself while we're in rehearsal. So it's like having that honesty to be able to listen to Chris when he wants to change something I'm in, and basically doing what I'm told for those scenes. So basically stepping down and remembering that I'm a cast member at that point. That's probably the biggest challenge.
It must be a challenge producing a play like this, which is so complex and so emotional.
Very much so. It's new territory for me as well. I haven't really directed anything like this before. I had a single scene in the last production I directed, and it made me realise that I wanted to do a play that had this sort of a level of emotion in it. I think it's some rehearsals you feel yourself drained. You spend a few hours every night with the Kellers, with the Divas, and I think you take on a little part of their emotion of what they're going through. Certainly I know at the end of the rehearsals the cast, as well as myself and Chris, are exhausted some nights. So this is definitely a challenge.
Simon Paget, you play Chris Keller, someone who wants to move on with his life, but things conspire against you, don't they?
Yeah, he's pretty much tied in with life at home and the responsibility he feels towards his parents. So yeah, he wants to kind of, so he come back from the war and he wants to kind of move on with his life, marry the girl of his dreams, so to speak, and but yeah, he's very much tied in with events at home and what's happening with his parents and his relationship with them. So yeah, he wants more from life than what he's currently getting, I think. So yeah.
How are you enjoying the part? Is it one of the best that you've ever played?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm really, really loving it. I mean, I'm a big fan of Arthur Miller's work. I was at school studying Death of a Salesman, and then obviously there's The Crucible, View from the Bridge. So yeah, All My Sons actually wasn't one that I mean, I'd heard of it, but I'd not read it until we read it in the back in, I think it was February time, so it's quite a while ago. But it's such a fantastic play. It just really gets you straight away. Great story, great characters, because that's what Arthur Miller does. I mean, I'm loving the fact that the Marlowes are able to put on some Arthur Miller, because, as I say, he's one of my favourite playwrights and one of America's greatest playwrights. So the fact to do some of the work is great, and it's such a great play. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving the role of Chris Keller as well. So it's great.
What are the challenges of that role, though?
It's the dynamic of his character. He's very much the dutiful son, and his loyalty to his parents. But there's towards the end of the play, as it builds, it's his character gets more and more conflicted with what he wants, and it's different to what his parents want, and it kind of culminates in a big eruption towards the end of the play, which is it's a great piece of drama. I say, so well written, and I can't wait for all the audiences to see it, because towards the end of the play, it really does build into a climax. So it's fantastic. So hopefully all the audiences will enjoy it. So. Yeah.
You've just come off stage from a rehearsal. You look as though you're drained.
Oh, I'm absolutely drained. It's as good a part as it is. It's a very challenging part. It's a very draining part, because it's so emotional, which is fantastic from an acting point of view. Because as an actor, you want things that are going to challenge you and push you, and things you can really invest in. Personally, I know, as personally speaking, that I love those emotive parts where I really can get my teeth into it and really. I don't want to sound the cliche, becoming the character, but it is a bit like that, really. So yeah, the only problem is that when you do come off stage, it is absolutely exhausting. But yeah, it's hopefully all going to be worth it in the end. So yeah, ready for bed tonight though.
Sophie Paulden, this is your first show with the Marlowes. Why did you decide to join the group?
Well, I actually came along to see The Weekend, which was the Marlowe's previous production, and the cast very kindly asked me to come to the pub with them after the performance, which I obviously obliged to do. And it was just when I got talking to everybody that they told me that All My Sons was going to be the next play and that I should audition. And so I decided to give it a go, and I'm very glad that I did.
Were you surprised to get the part?
I was very surprised, yes. This is my first performance since my uni days, when I did English Lit and Theatre Studies at University of Leeds. And this is the first show or any sort of drama that I've done since then. So yeah, big surprise.
So tell us about your character.
So Anne is 26 years old, which is 2 years younger than I am. In reading her, I've realised that we do have some similarities, just in the way that she's sort of very bubbly on the surface, but she's a little bit more complicated underneath it all. As you go throughout the play, you realise that she's been holding on to a secret, and that becomes sort of the revelation towards the end of the play.
John, you had very good audiences for the last play, The Weekend by Michael Palin. Obviously, you'll be expecting all those people to come back to see All My Sons.
We very much hope so. Hopefully that they've enjoyed not just The Weekend, but the previous productions with ourselves, with the Marlowe Players. I think we give an extremely good value night out. Certainly everybody who's been to our performances enjoy them. We've got lots of people wanting to know when the next one is, when we have the next production coming up. Our audience is very loyal to us. Those who have been remember that they've enjoyed themselves and do keep coming back. So hopefully we'll get lots of our previous audience members back again.